Welcome to Beyond the Page, the official podcast of Choice, the magazine of professional coaching, where we bring you amazing insights and in-depth features that you just won't find anywhere else. I'm your host, Gary Schleifer, and I'm excited to expand your learning as we dive into the latest articles, have a chat with this brilliant author behind one of them, and uncover the learnings that are transforming the coaching world. When you have a chance, join our vibrant community of coaching professionals as we explore groundbreaking ideas, share expert tips and techniques, and make a real difference in our clients' lives because that's what we love to do. Remember, this is your go-to resource for all things coaching. But in the meantime, let's dive in. In today's episode, I'm speaking with executive life coach, interview coach, career strategist, and pre-licensed therapist Shaunda Thompson, who is the author of an article in our latest issue, Coaching, Anti-Racism, and the Backlash Against DEI. Her article is entitled Breaking Barriers, Building Leaders, the Unique Strengths of BIPOC Coaches. A little bit about Shaunda. She's an associate certified executive life coach, a certified interview coach, no pressure on me, career strategist, and pre-licensed therapist who empowers professionals to elevate their careers and personal brands with confidence. Her leadership journey began as a U.S. Army non-commissioned officer, where she honed her skills in mentorship and motivation. I'll just bet. Now, CEO of her own consultancy and a two-time best-selling author, Shaunda blends strategic coaching with image consulting to inspire lasting change. A sought-after speaker and trainer, she equips individuals with the clarity, confidence, and tools to thrive unapologetically in work and life. Wow, Shaunda, thank you so much for joining me. That's a lot. And I didn't know that you were an image consultant.
Yes. Well, thank
Well,
you for having me.
that explains the good look.
Thank you. Thank you.
Uh,
Always want to make a statement.
yeah, yeah. And start with those earrings. We talked about that too.
Yes.
Yeah, no, they're lovely, and you're great to be here. And thank you so much for writing for Choice Magazine. We really appreciate it, and especially the kind of the angle from which you came at the article. But what inspired you to write this article, and why is now the right moment to highlight the voices of BIPOC coaches?
Yes. So the article was inspired by a couple of things. So one, this is my contribution to my community, the coaching community. And also, I wanted to share, some of my lived experience as a BIPOC coach, as well as highlight the experiences of other BIPOC coaches who are my mentors. I think with the climate of the world that we are in right now, I think it's a call and it brings light to how we need to engage in truth and representation and healing. Um, Coaching, we as we know in our field, it um, focuses on performance, goals, and mindset. But I also think that acknowledging like the historical as well as the generational aspects of coaching is important. So I think the call for this article, it was like it was right on time.
Yeah, well, thank you for doing it too. And you reference in the article, and a number of other people referenced that BIPOC coaches are underrepresented, and BIPOC individuals and coaches are underrepresented in the coaching profession, in
Yes.
leadership,
Hmm.
and you speak a lot about that. And I'm really glad that it was a challenge at first when you submitted the article, to be honest. And I said, well, what about white coaches? Why can't they? And you very wonderfully explained some of the nuances and clear differences, like lived experience that you
Hmm.
bring to the table. So
Hmm.
thank you for that.
You're welcome. And in addition to the lived experience, it's the embodied wisdom, and which is shaped by BIPOC's like lived experiences as well as the resilience and some of the nuances. There are times where words don't have to be spoken, or there's this invisible pain that the client that's looking like you, that's sitting across from you, that you as a BIPOC coach, you already know because you've gone through it.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately. Right. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Now, speaking
Yes.
of that, so how can coaches, especially those outside BIPOC communities, begin to build this cultural fluency that you speak about in
Mhm.
your article?
I really appreciate that question. And I think the first step is really recognizing where you come from, your own history, your privilege, and like your patterns. So your patterns of like how you avoid things, even your own triggers. Because as a coach, I don't think real transformation can really occur if you are kind of unaware of like triggers, biases, assumptions. Um, and this will come out in our work as a coach. And so I think when you examine like your biases, when you kind of unlearn, or when you're more in tune to what a dominant narrative is, I think that will help kind of cultivate empathy. I also think that non-BIPOC coaches have to be intentional, because you always have a choice in doing in doing the work. So read diverse voices. Um, get involved in BIPOC communities. So outside of just working with clients, get involved in other, BIPOC communities.
Mm,
And I also think that I think one of the most important things is being comfortable and sitting in discomfort without centering guilt or invalidating your
mm,
client. I think that would be, I would say, the number one thing that non-BIPOC coaches can do.
yeah. A number of those have been referenced in your article, and
Mhm.
also to um, be, and I think you said it, but if I'm saying this more, I think I'm saying this for myself. My learning is that being self-aware enough to know that I don't know.
Right.
Fact is, and I always say I'm open to, and I say this to you as well in this conversation, Shaunda, if I say anything that's a perfect example of what we're looking to change, please bring it up because I don't know what I don't know.
Correct.
Um, I loved the articles because some of the examples are, about like microaggressions and,
Hmm.
oh, you're so articulate. And I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, I didn't realize that that landed that way. Right.
Yes.
Right. It would land possibly differently for me, somebody saying that to me, but I'm a white man of privilege, so I guess I'm
Hmm.
kind of used to that. So
Hmm.
noticing those differences and nuances. So thank you.
Yes, and also being aware of identity. So I've had a colleague who is a white male make a statement like, "What's the big deal about hair?" We were talking about the Crown Act and the importance of it, and some of the trauma that comes with having to, either straighten your hair or do things, you're under pressure to kind of conform. And he made the statement like, I don't see what the big deal is. It's hair.
Hmm.
And I think that's another perfect example of when you're, a coach and you're operating in cultural fluency, you would do the work to understand how hair is strongly tied to a Black woman's identity.
Hmm.
And you would be able to sit with a client and validate the client's feelings and experience.
And you just helped me learn something. And I knew there was something around hair that was important, but I'm learning more through this conversation about the depth of it and the history and things like that. So thank you for sharing that.
You're
Uh,
welcome.
yeah. I was rereading the article again this morning, like I haven't read it enough times already, right? Proofreading, you know. all that. But there's one that I'd like to share, and I'm very open about that. I don't know what code switching is. What's code switching?
So code switching is it's a way of being. So it's how you adapt your language to certain environments. So I'll just use
Uh,
myself for an example. So I am from the Midwest. I'm a proud Midwesterner living on the East Coast. And so in the Midwest, we have certain terminology. So where I'm from, we call soda sody.
oh,
I know some people, I think regionally, they call it pop or whatever. And so when I'm in certain environments, I can say sody and other, you know, terms.
right.
And my speech may be faster. So naturally, I speak very fast. I like to use my hands a lot. And so I do that in certain environments where I feel safe.
Hmm.
In a work environment, I'm more conscious of, slowing down, and I may not say sody in a work context. I may call it pop or soda.
Mhm.
So code switching, really in a nutshell, is you're just adapting your speech, your nonverbals, and just your way of being depending on the environment that you're in. And it's mentally and emotionally, it can be taxing when you're doing it over and over and over again, which then could lead to, mental health
Right.
challenges.
Wow. And that sounds like it could be for anyone. What's the additional layer for BIPOC individuals? An example.
The additional layer for BIPOC individuals is BIPOC individuals are constantly, we have to adapt and kind of fit into this mold
Mm,
in professional settings. Like, for example, as a Black woman, if you maybe ask questions for clarification or if you advocate for yourself, you may be perceived as, okay, you're bossy or maybe you're too aggressive.
mm,
Whereas if you did the same thing, no one's going to second guess it or think that you're being any other way. So there's the race component on top of it.
So what do I do differently? What do I need to do? Like I need, and I want to do it differently. So I'm not saying I have to, but I want to do it differently. What's something that a white man of privilege, cisgender, all that, how would I behave differently? Break that systemic system.
I love that question. Call it out. Call a thing, because silence is you're complicit with um you're like adding to the problem. So when you're seeing something that's like unjust and not right, you not saying anything isn't making it any better. So call it out.
Okay.
Be an ally.
Yeah. Well, I hope that I am through our work here at Choice and in the work I do in my life. I'll be honest, you've given me some more things to think about being more engaged in BIPOC communities. I live in Toronto in
Oh,
Canada,
okay.
and it is the one of the most diverse centers communities in the world. Like I go to our gym and you will rarely hear English. It's
Nice.
Indian, Pakistani, Chinese, Middle East, Arabic, I guess. Just a whole plethora of languages. I think we like to say there's probably at least one person from every country in the world. Well, two, so
Wow.
that they can have different languages heard. Oh yeah, we've been. Um, and well, as the U.S. has been welcoming immigrants for hundreds of
Mhm,
years, it's what's shaped.
mhm,
My parents were immigrants, and
mhm,
I was close, but I was born in Canada,
mhm.
so no. But thank you. It's a good reminder, always a good reminder. When you say something, see something. When you see something, say something.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, call it out and then offer support
Yeah.
for the individual if they're, either cut off or if someone is trying to put a label, on a BIPOC individual that really isn't true, like call it out,
Mm. Yeah.
show
Thank you.
support.
Thank you. In your article, you speak about authentic leadership and intersectional
Mhm.
empathy. First of all, explain those. And then secondly, how has that impacted your coaching style?
Yes. So for me, authentic leadership, it really begins with what I call radical self honesty.
Mm,
So as a coach, I don't separate who I am from how I coach. So I have multiple identities. So I'm a Black woman, I'm a veteran, I'm a coach, I'm a counselor. And so bringing in the fullness of my identity into the coaching space, I think that serves as like a grounding presence. And I think authenticity, it's really not about being like raw in the space all the time.
mm,
It's being real enough to invite safety. So, from what you said earlier, there are a lot of things, or there may be times you don't know what you don't know. And I think being curious and as well as sharing that with a client, I think is
mhm,
helpful. And then my clients, they know that I'm not going to ask them to be vulnerable in ways that I'm unwilling to be. Because I
mhm.
believe, how can you require something of someone when you are uncomfortable or you can't do that yourself? And I think that that's where kind of trust starts in the coaching relationship. And then I think with intersectional empathy, that means that you're seeing the whole person. So you're seeing all the intersectionality. You're seeing, some people may have things that have happened in their background. You're seeing their strengths, and you're not just looking at, okay, what is the end goal with this client? And so I think when as coaches, acknowledge that a client's journey isn't really linear, and that there's like power, there's privilege, and there's like sometimes even pain that all show up in the room with your client. So I think acknowledging all that, and then knowing as a coach, our job is to walk beside our client. We hold space, we affirm, and we're not there to fix everything.
Yeah,
So I
not there
think
to fix the judge. Yeah.
yeah. And so I think how all this has impacted my coaching style. I just want, I think I have more of a focus on being than doing. So I really want my clients to return to their self. And then that's why I always just try to be like me in in the session. So I'm going to show
Yeah.
up with the big statement earrings,
The, co- the,
funny
co- the lovely,
sayings.
colorful fingernails. Mine are shiny. They're not colored today.
Yes, yes. So I think
Yeah.
when we're authentic, I think that builds safety. And then I think the intersectional empathy, I think that builds the trust. So I think the combination of those, they're going to turn your coaching into a space that's real. And then I think that would support lasting change for clients.
Two words I'm hearing when you were saying that: loving fearlessness.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Because don't we always love our clients, honestly?
yes, yes,
I mean, even the ones that choose me that I don't get to have that chemistry conversation, they've just chosen me. It's
yeah,
like I just fall in love with them. And
yes.
as a gay man, I have also authenticity work that I've been doing, and I bring that to the conversation when it's
Mhm.
relevant, right?
Right.
So, a friend of ours wrote a book. Ray Riglioso wrote a book, "Gay Men and the New Way Forward," and in there he speaks about that out openly gay men are probably way more authentic than straight men
Yes.
because we've
Yes.
done a
I can see
lot.
that.
We've had our struggles,
Mhm.
had our challenges in being and fighting and all that sort of thing. So we have a
Yes.
little segment of authenticity that we've brought forward in our own conversation. So yeah,
Yes. I like that.
Yeah, that was a great book. I highly recommend it. Oh, speaking of books, I know someone who's a two-time best-selling author. She wrote what books?
So I've been in a few anthologies. So the anthologies that I've written, excuse me, my chapters in. These were the two-time best-selling anthologies. So the first anthology kind of dealt with grief and loss,
Mm,
and then the second anthology had more of like a leadership focus.
okay.
And so with the first anthology, I kind of shared my story of losing my son. So I had my son at
Condolences.
26 weeks. My son's name was Brock, and I kind of shared kind of what my grief journey was like and how I kind of navigated that and just kind of did a pivot. So I lost my son, I went through a divorce, and so I just kind of had to reinvent myself. And for the other anthology that had more of the leadership focus, I talked about like an image blueprint. So just giving some strategies and tips.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your contributions. And
Thank
again,
you.
condolences on the loss of your son
Thank you.
and marriages are grief events as well. So,
Yeah.
you'll I'm assuming you're in in a great place and
Yes.
your authenticity shines because of these things that you freely share with us. So thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. Being vulnerable, Shaunda, careful.
Yeah.
You might be a coach. Oh, you are a coach. There we go. No, thank you so much. So what would you like our audience to do as a result of this article and this conversation?
So, what I would like the audience to do, I want them to not be afraid to reshape the coaching profession and maybe challenge themselves in and unlearning ways that are not helpful to other populations or particularly BIPOC populations. I would like the audience to challenge dominant norms. So as coaches, let's start rejecting this one, excuse me, excuse me, this one size fits all models. And so be more open to like culturally responsive frameworks. And let's get comfortable with honoring identity, community, and intergenerational wisdom. And let's kind of expand some accessibility for BIPOC populations. So let's create spaces where BIPOC populations where they can feel affirmed, where they can feel safe and truly be seen.
Hmm, thank you. And I'm going to step up and say that if anyone listening to this and would like my help in that, I am an ally, and you can reach me at Gary at with two R's at choice-online.com. Pretty easy to find me, and love to have a conversation to see how I can participate, how I can help. We through choice we do years ago around the time of the George Floyd murder, we started a column called Kaleidoscope, which is our
Yeah.
ongoing voice of
Hmm.
for diversity, equity, and inclusion and belonging. So we're always looking for contributors to that. Doesn't have to be BIPOC, obviously,
Hmm.
because we need to do our work too, us
Yes.
white people. And yeah, so reach out to me. But if somebody wants to reach out to you, Shaunda, what's the best way to reach you?
Well, they can reach out to me on my website. So www.shaundathompson.com.
ShaundaThompson.com. Pretty easy, there's forms to fill out. So there we go. Wow. I mean, I love these conversations. I could go on. I'm learning, learning, learning always, and kind of why I do what I do, right? Because it's sometimes these topics are just for me, and it's
Yeah.
for the audience and our readers as well. Thank you for your contribution, and hope we see you again in some other community or some other venue.
Thank you for having me.
That's it for this episode of Beyond the Page. For more episodes, subscribe via your favorite podcast app. most likely the one that got you here. If you're not a subscriber to Choice Magazine, you can sign up for a free digital issue by scanning the QR code in the top right-hand corner of our screen. If you're listening, then you can go to choice-online.com and click the Sign Up Now button. I'm Gary Schleifer. Enjoy the journey of mastery.